You wake up in the dark, your eyes are open, you're awake, but you can't move. You try to lift your hand and nothing happens. You try to call out and no sound comes. Your body is not listening to you. And then you feel it. Something is in the room, it's close. It feels like it's leaning over you, sitting on your chest, and you can't even turn your head to look. For a few long seconds, you are trapped inside your own body, completely awake, completely helpless. If this has ever happened to you, I need you to hear three things. You're not crazy. You're not in danger. And you were not visited by anything. What happened to you is one of the strangest things your brain can do. And this is what almost nobody tells you. People on the other side of the world who never met you and never met each other have woken up to the exact same figure in the dark, the same weight on the chest, the same terror. So the question isn't whether it was real. It's why your brain and everyone else's keeps building the same monster. Let's start with something your body does every single night without ever asking you. When you fall into the most vivid part of sleep, the part where you dream, your brain does something a little frightening. It switches off your body. It sends a signal that relaxes almost every muscle you have until you're basically paralyzed. Your arms, your legs, your voice, all of it goes quiet, and this is a good thing. In fact, it might be one of the most useful things your brain does for you. Think about what you do in dreams. You run, you fight, you fall, you fly. Now imagine if your body actually tried to do all of that while you were lying in bed. You'd be kicking, swinging, sprinting into walls every single night. So your brain protects you. It paralyzes your body on purpose so you can dream as wildly as you want and still wake up in one piece. It's basically a safety lock. Every night, your body gets switched off, and every morning, it gets switched back on, and you never even notice. Which means every night, you're paralyzed for hours, and you sleep right through it. So, why do some people suddenly wake up while it's still happening? Because sometimes the timing slips. Your mind wakes up before your body does. The dreaming part of sleep is fading. Your awareness clicks back on. You can see your room. You know where you are, you're awake. But the safety lock hasn't released yet. Your body is still in dream mode, still paralyzed, still switched off. So you're left in this impossible in-between place. Your mind is awake in a body that's still asleep. You try to move and the commands just don't go through. You try to speak and nothing comes out. And for the first time, you're actually there to feel it. The paralysis was always happening. You were just never awake to notice it before. This is the thing people call sleep paralysis. Not the nightly switch off, but this. The moment you wake up inside it. But being awake in a frozen body is only half of it, because you weren't the only thing that woke up early. Something else was still switched on. The part of your brain that builds dreams never got the message that you woke up. So while your eyes are open and looking at your real bedroom, little pieces of dreaming are still bleeding into the room with you. And at the same time, your brain is terrified. Think about it from your brain's point of view. You're awake, you can't move, and you don't know why. To an ancient survival system, that is a 5-alarm emergency. You are frozen and defenseless in the dark, so your fear system slams on. The part of your brain that scans for danger goes into overdrive, screaming that something is wrong, something is threatening you, but it can't find a threat. So it does something very human. It invents one. It takes that raw, screaming feeling of danger, mixes it with the dream images still floating in the room, and builds you a monster. A shadow in the corner, a figure by the bed, a weight on your chest, pressing down. Your brain is so sure there's a threat that it manufactures something for you to be afraid of. That's why it feels so real. It isn't a thought or a guess. Your brain is using the same machinery it uses to see anything else. As far as your senses are concerned, there really is something in the room. You're not imagining the figure. You're perceiving one that your own mind drew. Remember what I said at the start, that strangers across the world see the same thing? That's the part nobody has been able to explain away. If this were just a private glitch, you'd expect everyone to see something different. Your own worst fear, your own personal nightmare. But that's not what happens. Across the world, in cultures that never touched, people describe the same night. In Japan, they call it kanashibari, the feeling of being bound by invisible metal. In Newfoundland, it's the Old Hag, a witch who sits on your chest while you sleep. In Brazil, there's the Pisadeira, a thin old woman with long nails who waits on the rooftops and steps on the chests of people sleeping on a full stomach. Different names, different countries, different centuries, and underneath all of them, the same three details. You're lying on your back, you can't move, and something is sitting on your chest. For a long time, people assumed these were just old stories, passed from village to village, but they show up in places that had no contact at all. A folklorist named David Hufford spent years documenting this, and he found the same core experience appearing again and again in people who had never heard a single one of those legends. So the figure isn't a story we taught each other. It's something our brains build the same way everywhere, because every human brain runs on the same wiring. The demon didn't come from a culture. It came from the hardware. We've simply been giving the same brain glitch 1,000 different names for thousands of years. So, what do you actually do when it happens? The good news is that it ends on its own, usually in seconds, sometimes a minute or two. The lock releases, your body comes back, and it's over. It can't hurt you, and it doesn't mean that anything is wrong with your mind. It happens more often when you're short on sleep, when your schedule is a mess, when you're stressed, and especially when you sleep on your back. So if it happens to you a lot, that's where to start. And in the moment, you don't have to fight your whole body. People find it's enough to focus on moving one small thing: a fingertip, a toe, your breathing. Give your waking mind one tiny door to push on, and the rest tends to follow. But maybe the most useful thing is just knowing what it is. Because the terror of sleep paralysis was never really about the paralysis. It was about not understanding it. The moment you know, the figure is your own brain. Drawing a threat in the dark, it loses almost all of its power. And when you step back, there's something quietly amazing hiding in all of this. Every night, you lie down and your brain switches your body off, lets you live out impossible things, and switches you back on before you ever know it happened. Sleep paralysis is just the rare moment you catch it in the act. A glimpse behind the curtain at the machinery that builds your reality, including the monsters. The thing humanity feared in the dark for thousands of years, the witch, the demon, the weight on the chest, was never in the room. It was always us. Your brain is full of these quiet little habits it runs without ever asking you. Most of them, you will never catch. There's another one waiting for you right now. Go let it mess with you.